My name is Christopher Sands. I'm a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, and I'd like to talk briefly about the recent Chrysler bankruptcy. In many ways, the Chrysler bankruptcy is not a surprise. When the federal government intervened early on to try to help out the auto industry, differentiating between General Motors and Chrysler, the Obama administration made very clear that unless Chrysler was successfully rescued by a fiat merger, it would be allowed to go bankrupt. This made it clear to a lot of creditors that Chrysler was going to be the first to go. In that sense, the timing is the most surprising thing, that it comes right before a potential merger with Fiat, which would allow Fiat to take on some of the Chrysler debt, and which would involve the labor unions obtaining the seats on the board and a larger ownership stake, but at the sacrifice of some benefits that Chrysler felt it simply could no longer pay, and some wage concessions as well. This situation could open up a real opportunity for Chrysler to get on its feet, but it will be tricky to see how that unfolds. Bankruptcy in general is a good strategy for a company like Chrysler because it allows some protection, and it allows a bankruptcy judge, not a government bureaucrat, but someone trained to handle bankruptcy cases, to sort out the disposition of assets, making sure creditors get paid on a basis that is fair and not political. Many people have worried that the Obama administration intervention into Chrysler's health and well-being would lead the Obama administration to make political decisions, perhaps favoring the auto company's union, the United Auto Workers, over other creditors who may have been secured. A bankruptcy judge won't do that. A bankruptcy judge approaches things from a more neutral standpoint. However, coming as it does at the same time that the outlines of a deal are already on the table that would give the UAW a larger share of board ownership, and a prior deal that would have allowed the UAW to take over part of Chrysler in exchange for forgiving past debts and getting this controlling interest in the company, some 40% of the voting shares of the company, suggests that before a bankruptcy judge has the opportunity to rationally resolve Chrysler's debts, the deal has been pre-cooked, giving the union a leg up on other creditors, perhaps allowing Fiat a seat at the table, but already making sure that those two become privileged creditors and privileged players in the new Chrysler, leaving other unsecured creditors and even secured creditors on the outside looking in. Therefore, it's no surprise that Automotive Suppliers, with orders due to Chrysler but invoices still unpaid, have chosen to immediately freeze supply shipments to Chrysler and its automotive plants. As a result, Chrysler's had to close auto plants and stop production entirely while it pushes out inventory. One more group that is important to keep in mind here in the whole disposition of Chrysler's future is the dealership network. Many dealers have been on the verge of calling it quits in the last several months. Not only dealers for Chrysler, of course, but dealers for General Motors and Ford. Dealers have worked on very thin margins for some time, and it's not clear that dealers' status will be protected in this bankruptcy. What many people have discussed is that dealers could find their contractual agreements with the companies, their licenses to sell cars, torn up with the privileged relationships that they've had with these manufacturers no longer honored. This is a serious issue that will lead some dealers to get out of the business entirely, others to migrate to other automakers selling different products, and some to attempt to challenge this bankruptcy where they can with lawsuits. That's one major sector of the industry that hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but which will be a big part of the Chrysler bailout. How does Chrysler's bankruptcy affect the other automakers? Well, a Chrysler bankruptcy certainly sends a worrying signal that will be watched by General Motors as it attempts to deal with its severe debt problems and its cost issues. As it looks forward, it will see how the government treats Chrysler as a hallmark or a harbinger of how they themselves may be treated not too far down the road. Because while the Obama administration indicated that Chrysler would be the first to go and would receive less assistance from the government than General Motors is clearly next on the list. Ford, on the other hand, Ford has avoided having to take government money and remains the most viable of the Detroit Three. But Ford also looks at the same sagging sales that have hurt Japanese automakers in North America and globally, and we've seen declining orders for parts producers across the board. The auto industry continues to be in trouble. Chrysler's bankruptcy will not help resolve the problems of other firms, and may yet give everyone a wake-up call to just how bad it will get in the weeks and months to come. My name is Christopher Sands. I'm a senior fellow here at Hudson. Thank you very much.